Hi everybody, Marco Carballo here from businesscreditblogger.com. Today's video we're going to talk about real estate funding for investors. We're going to talk to you about how to get cash for down payments or closing costs or any cash you need, whether it's for rehabs for your real estate investing career. So whether you're brand new to getting into real estate and you need some cash for a down payment on a property, or you're a seasoned real estate investor, this video we're going to share with you 5 sources to get cash and credit. These are many of them are revolving sources, and this is going to be a very informative video for you because we're going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to get access to cash and credit that you can use for your investing. So let's get started. And this is unsecured money. This is not you pulling out equity or using a HELOC or anything like that. We're going to talk about unsecured money that you can use for real estate investing. So let's get started. So first and foremost, it's important to realize is when we're talking about getting cash for real estate funding, what can more cash do for you? That's the most important thing, because remember, when you're getting cash and credit, there's a cost for you to use credit. There's a cost for you to get cash. So you always want to assess if you can get X amount more cash available to you, what are you going to do with that money? How can you put it to work for real estate investing? Are you going to be able to do your first real estate investment deal? Do you have a couple of deals pointed out that has a good ROI? Are you going to use these additional cash for down payments and closing costs? If so, how do you plan to recoup that money, and how fast do you plan to generate a profit? So if it's a fix and flip deal, etc. So what can additional 20, 50, 100,000 in credit and cash available to you, what can that do for you? How can you plan ahead for the next month, 6 months, a year? Your investing strategy is going to change drastically when you have access to that much more capital. So think about what can this extra cash do for you? How can it scale your real estate investment business? So here's a list of couple things you can use this for, whether it's purchasing rehab materials, pay contractors, pay off a balloon note, purchase land, etc. Now, I first also want to let you know that we also do direct lending, hard money lending for deals that are distressed. So be sure to check out realestatecredit.org. That's realestatecredit.org. You'll see in the bottom of this presentation, businesscreditbuilders.org. That's where we list our business credit building, funding programs, our system, etc. Now, I talked earlier about your return on investments. The reason why I want to cover this is so important because we have many people come to us who want us to raise unsecured funding for them, specifically for real estate investing. We always want them to know, what are you going to do with the money? How fast are you going to get a return on your money, and how much do you expect to get a return on your money? Because when we acquire capital for you, it's revolving, most of it's a revolving capital. So you can use it over and over and over again for multiple deals, not a one-time deal, multiple deals. So what will this do for you? Because of course there's a cost for us to acquire funding for you. So you have to factor that in with your real estate investments. Now, how much time is this going to save you when you have access to cash and credit? So rather than relying on other sources that may not be as reliable, or if you're looking for a specific deal that you need cash quick to do a deal, this is a great way for you to have access to cash and credit for real estate funding. Also, what type of extra cash flow are you going to generate if you can invest in a couple more properties every single year? Now, the first source of cash that you can get access to for real estate investing, and I also like to say credit, are business credit card funding. This is different from you going out and applying for a business credit card on your own, because we actually have a funding program where we bundle business credit cards. What I mean by that is this is a no-doc program. We bundle 4 to 5 banks. We select 4 to 5 of the banks that are giving you the highest credit limit possible, based on your credit, based on your history, your scores, which bureau they pull from. So we place you with 4 to 5 banks, and the banks will issue your business a business credit card. This is a revolving line of credit. We can do the same thing with personal credit cards, but if you're a real estate investor and obviously you're purchasing using your LLC, your properties are being held in an LLC, then it's advantageous to have a business credit card, because the business credit cards that we set you up with only report to the business credit agencies. This allows your LLC or corporation to build its own credit identity. It protects your personal credit. So when you're pulling out large sums of cash or you're making major purchases, doing rehabs, none of that debt on those revolving accounts are going to show up on your personal credit. And that's a big benefit for you as a real estate investor. Another benefit to business credit card funding is it's an easier debt to service, because your minimum monthly payment when you carry debt on these revolving cards for the business is only 1 to 1.5%. So if you're carrying large amounts of debt, it's a much easier payment to swallow than if you get like a fixed loan and you have an installment loan, etc. Now, the biggest question we have a lot of times is, if you get business credit cards, how can you get cash? How can I get cash for these cards if I need it for down payments or I need it to pay a contractor? And there's a lot of creative ways for you to pull cash from credit cards. You'll see that we have a link up here on where to watch our video on how to convert credit cards into cash at 0%. That's a great video. You want to watch that because we share with you step by step on how to do it yourself. Basically, what you're doing is you're just pulling the maximum amount of cash on one card. Then you transfer that balance onto card number 2. So card number 1 now has credit available again to do another cash advance. So since you did that balance transfer, let's say you got a 0% on card number 2. So in essence, you're paying maybe 1 to 3% to balance transfer that money out to card number 2, but you have 0%. So you're avoiding that high interest rate on that cash advance. Now, some people don't want to do all that balance transfer and strategizing and how to do it. It's a creative way to pull lots of cash out of your credit cards for real estate investing. But if you don't want to do that, we are the only ones who offer a service called cash liquidation. So if you're a client of ours, we obtain these bundled business credit cards from you. We can also pull 100% of the cash on all your business credit cards if you need it, or if you only want 50%, however much you want, we can liquidate it, and you still get the benefits of 0%. There's no cash advance fees to worry about. Now, we do charge a 6% fee to do that for you, so you have to factor that in, but that's a service that we offer for our clients. So it's called cash liquidation. Another creative way is using a company called Plastique. That's P-L-A-S-T-I-Q. Excuse me. I wrote a review on this on our blog just recently, businesscreditblogger.com. Plastique is a company that allows you to use your credit cards, your business credit cards. They charge your business credit cards, and then they pay your supplier or your contractor or your service provider in cash, whether it's through a check, cashier's check, wire transfer, ACH deposit. You choose how you want to pay them. But so let's say you're doing a rehab and you have a project and you have a contractor that to do the rehab, it's going to be about $30,000 in rehab work, let's say, and the contractor only takes cash. They don't accept credit cards. Well, Plastique is a great option for you, where you could basically slap that $30,000 on a business credit card, and Plastique will pay your contractor via ACH deposit into their account. So that's a great way for you to be able to pull cash from your business credit cards without high cash advance fees, because Plastique, it's not treated as a cash advance. It's treated actually as a purchase. So that's a real creative way. And keep in mind, with our business credit card funding program, let me just kind of break this down how this works for you. You get 4 to 5 cards, and the process takes about 14 to 20 days. You're looking at $25,000 to $150,000 in combined credit limits that you can have access to, and it's strictly based on your credit worthiness as an investor, because you're basically co-signing for your business. You're the guarantor, so the business gets the cards issued. So the banks we're presenting to are looking at your personal credit, and they're issuing these unsecured revolving business credit cards to your company. And because you're the co-signer, you have good credit worthiness. This allows your business to establish a relationship with the banks. That's number 1. Number 2, this protects your personal credit. Number 3, this builds your business credit reports for the business, and positions your business in the future if it wants additional funding, additional credit from other suppliers. Now banks and lenders, suppliers, even investors can check your business credit report as opposed to always relying on your personal credit. Okay, so there's a lot of advantage to this, and of course this gives you access to working capital. Now, one thing I want you to make sure that if you receive $30,000 in business credit cards or $50,000, remember, this is a stepping stone for you, because every 6 to 12 months, provided that you're using your accounts with the banks, you're paying on time, you can always increase those credit limits, whether it's through automatic credit limit increases, depending on the bank, or you can request a credit limit increase. The good news for business credit cards is credit limit increases are much higher on business credit cards compared to personal. So you'll see you get 0% intro APR for 6 to 15 months. So you have that 0% period on purchases. Your annual rates are going to range from 9.9 to 19.9. Clients are typically falling in between the 10 to 15% range. Now keep in mind though, you can always re-age those 0% offers by carrying a low balance on one of the cards, calling the bank up and say, hey, I'd like to do a balance transfer. What can you offer me? And they'll offer you a 0% balance transfer offer. So the end of the day, remember, is banks want your debt. So that's why they offer you these 0% offers, especially with cards that may have zero or very low balances. You're going to get those offers for your business in the mail as well. Your minimum monthly payments, 1 to 1.5%. You have the ability to pull out cash. Like I told you, you could do it yourself using the balance transfer strategy. We could do it for you through cash liquidation, or you can use some other strategies, like if you need cash to pay contractors, then use something like Plastique. It makes much more sense. So it really depends on what you need the cash for. These cards only report to the business credit reporting agencies. Like I said, this establishes your credit file with Experian Commercial and establishes 4 to 5 accounts reporting on your business credit report. So this is going to generate a credit rating for your business. Now, also, we have some real estate investors. You got to understand it's all about diversity. It's important for you to have multiple banking relationships. Don't think that you should only have one business credit card. When you have multiple relationships, multiple cards with the banks, banks compete for your business. More importantly, when you have a relationship with each bank, banks offer many more funding products than just a credit card. So if you have a relationship, a business credit card with bank number 1, let's say, and they also offer a line of credit, like a traditional line or a business loan, etc., you already have a relationship with them. You're establishing a relationship. So when you approach them for an additional funding product, that's the first thing they're going to look at, is your relationship with them. Okay, so this is another advantage for you for future funding opportunities. And now I said this established credit rating. Now, what about the minimum requirements? What does it take for you to qualify for business credit card funding? A minimum, and this is what I like to use the word minimum, because, you know, ideally you want to have higher credit scores, but credit scores are simply just a benchmark factor. Okay, they're not going to guarantee you're going to qualify, because there's many other factors that the banks look at. Our underwriters will do a review first for you. This applies for whether you're a startup or an existing business. You do have to have an entity set up. If you have a bankruptcy discharge, it has to be over 10 years old for this particular type of funding program. We do accept credit partners. So if you have a real estate, let's say you have an LLC set up and you want to invest in real estate, but you have bad personal credit, but let's say your brother or your sister or a business partner or spouse or significant other wants to co-sign for your business, then we do accept that. We leverage their personal credit, but the cards will be issued to your business. So we do accept that. Now, what do you need to apply? You need to have a separate legal entity. Company must be in good standing, so make sure you're active with their state that you incorporated in. You need your EIN number, a business contact information, and business bank account. Now, we do have lots of questions that people ask us is, do I have to have a DUNS number to do this, or do I have to have already a business credit file established? No, that's not required for this particular funding program. This will actually set up your credit file with most likely Experian Commercial, because mainly card issuers report to Experian and Equifax Small Business. More vendors, suppliers, retailers, equipment finance companies mainly share data with Dun & Bradstreet. Okay, so on the bottom here, you'll see business-lines of credit. That's our website. That's where you want to go to for more information on this particular program. Here's just some real quick rundowns of some sample clients. 20 days, we were able to get this one client over 60,000 in business credit cards. Good scores though, mid 700 scores. The good account blend of mix. They had credit cards, auto loan. The key though with this particular funding program, How you're going to get high limits, the biggest factor is the highest limits you have on the personal side. On your primary accounts, non-authorized user accounts, I'm talking your primary. So what's your highest credit card that you currently have where you're the primary on? Okay, so let's say your highest credit limit you have right now is a $10,000 American Express card, a personal card. Next question is, how long have you had it? Have you had it 6 months, a year? Have you had it 10 years? The age of how long you've had the card plays a big role too. The other key factor is who issued the card. American Express is a major bank card issuer, so that's a plus. Whereas if you have a $10,000 credit card, but it's from a low-name bank, or let's say a Finger Hut, okay? Let's say that particular, that's not a mainstream credit card issuer, so that plays a big role. Also, remember, primary authorized user accounts help you boost your score, but they don't help you when it comes to qualifying for large credit limits like this for this type of program, because the underwriters for the banks look at your primary accounts. The limited inquiries here, the worst thing you could do is go out there and start applying and trying to see if you can get credit, and then come to us and say, well, it's not working, or I'm not getting approvals, can you guys help me? By then you have too many inquiries and we can't help you. So the age of the business does play a role. You could be a startup, but if you have that trifecta where you have good personal credit, good history, good accounts with the banks, and let's say your business is 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, that's great. That just helps you even more, but it's not a requirement. And there's no late payments, obviously. This is another client, 25 days, almost $100,000 in business credit card funding. You could pause this video if you kind of want to look at this particular client, what they had to qualify. I just don't want to spend too much time on this. This is one last one. You have an option as an investor. If you want to raise as much credit limits as possible, as we could combine funding with business credit cards and personal credit cards. So it's called our combo financing. So we could do that if you want us to raise as much credit limits as possible within the 14 to 20 days that we do this, okay? Let's talk about if you want to pre-qualify for this particular strategy. This is just number one strategy. We got 4 more to go over. Number one is you have to order your tri-merge credit report. A tri-merge credit report is all 3 of your personal credit files blended into one report with all 3 scores. That allows our underwriter to do a really comprehensive review and give you an accurate projection. If you only provide us one report, we have no idea it's reporting on the other 2. So we can still give you a projection, but it's not going to be accurate. So if you want an accurate projection, you want to know how much can we get you over the 14 to 20 days that we do business credit card funding, give us your tri-merge report. This is what we recommend is businessfundingengine.procredit.com. They charge you $1 to get all 3 reports. And then they offer like a monthly monitoring service, all these great benefits. Great service. You don't have to stay in it, but we recommend it. That way you can monitor your reports. Number 2, download it. You can do it right from within the platform when you get your credit reports. And then now you're going to go to step 3 is you're going to upload the report so we could do the review. That's where you go to businesscreditbuilders.org/pre-qualification. Once you upload your report and click submit, you'll get an email confirmation, and we'll call you within about 48 hours with funding projections. We'll do a consultation with you, answer any questions you have, then send out the funding agreement to move forward with funding. Very simple. Okay, let's talk about another way for funding for real estate. Real estate funding is getting a bank line of credit. So this is ideal for you if you have rental properties or you have business income coming into your business checking account. So if you have rental income coming into your company's account, this is a great strategy. If at least you have $2,000 a month in total revenue coming into your business checking account. This allows you to get a line of credit strictly based off of that revenue coming into your account. No personal credit check, no personal guarantee, and there's no credit reporting. So this doesn't show up on your personal, doesn't show up on your business. What's great about this is you could do pre-qualification with this lender right online, and literally in a matter within minutes up to an hour, they can give you a decision. You basically sync up your business bank account. Online, it's completely secure. They deal with over 12,000 banks, so most likely you do bank, your business checking account is probably with a bank that they support. And then they'll do a review right online. You'll see the review being done on the screen. It's really cool. And then it'll tell you what you're approved for. Then you can just go online and see how much do you want. They'll tell you what your payment's going to be. Now, the unique thing is you have 6 months to pay it back. So this is a 6-month draw. Every time you draw, you have to pay back within 6 months on that particular draw. But this is a revolving line of credit. Also what's unique about this is your money is deposited within 24 hours. So let's say you got $3,000 a month going into your business check account from rental payments and maybe some other side income. You do the review, and let's say you're approved for a $10,000 line of credit. Let's just say, this is just an example. Well, let's say you needed $10,000 to do a deposit on a deal. You needed $10,000 cash to buy a property, to do a fix and flip or something. That's what you need down. Well, right there, you could pull $10,000 in cash in your account in 24 hours, and you got the money. So that's what's great, and they let you repay it 6 months. So typically a fix and flip will take maybe anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So you have that time period, which is great. So go to banklinecredit.com if you want to apply for this. This will take you to our post that we wrote about more extensively, more details about this line of credit, how it works, and it will give you the instructions on how to apply right online. It's really simple. You can receive up to $100,000 with a particular lender. Repayment terms up to 6 months. I did say that. You could draw out 100% cash. There's no cash advance fees you have to worry about with this line of credit. It doesn't report. I said that. And there's no prepayment penalties. So if you want to pay it back quick, there's no fees. So banklinecredit.com. You do have to be a US-based business for this. You do have to have a business checking account. So if you have all of your rental income coming into a personal checking account, I do encourage you to set up a LLC or a corporation if it makes sense. Talk to your CPA on that. But for programs like this, that's an advantage for you. That's how you can participate with this particular lender. But it has to be a business checking account, not a personal checking account. Minimum of $2,000 a month in rental deposits or business income coming in. No personal credit check, no PG, no doc, no credit reporting. Great, streamlined program. Another great tool for real estate funding as an investor. So this is just real quick. I already talked about this, so we'll keep going. Let's talk about another real estate funding source for real estate investors is personal lines of credit. This is a very popular one. This is not a credit card. This is actually lines of credit at the banks. Now, I want to really quickly point out that if you have an LLC or a corporation and you want a traditional line of credit, you want a business line of credit, not a credit card, banks, this is just a fact, banks are not issuing unsecured lines of credit to businesses that are real estate companies that invest in real estate. They won't do it. It's a high-risk industry. The only way you're going to get that is if you collateralize that line of credit as a business, okay? So you have to have equity in real estate. You have to pledge some real estate properties, maybe to secure that line. So if you want a line of credit as a real estate investor, you have to resort to a personal line of credit, okay? Because we have lots of investors come to us and say, it has to be business. I don't want to use my personal. But you're a business investing in real estate. So banks will not give you a traditional line. Also, they're going to require 2 years business tax returns, 2 years personal tax returns. You're going to have to collateralize it. They want to look at your P&L statements. It's a whole different ballgame when you're going for a business traditional line of credit. So an easier option is a personal line of credit at the bank. Okay, this is just another way for you to get cash and credit for funding to invest in your real estate. This line is issued by the banks. Now, who we mainly deal with when we're setting you up with these lines of credit are credit unions and community banks and regional banks. We don't deal with the major banks. Much more red tape. You could go apply on your own, obviously, but we place you with about 3 to 4 banks that will issue you an actual personal line of credit. What's great about this, you can pay your balance in full, or you can do a minimum monthly payment, which works kind of like a credit card. But your minimum monthly payments are a little higher. It's around 2 to 5%, not 1 to 1.5. Okay, you can access your line of credit. You don't get a credit card with a traditional line of credit. You can access your line of credit online via basically moving your money into your account. You can call in by phone, say I need to draw my line of credit, or they give you access checks, which is really great. So if you want to, you have to go to closing and you need $10,000 off your line of credit, and let's say you have a $30,000 line of credit, you just stroke a check, boom, cash. Okay, so that's what's great about a personal line of credit, is because you could draw lump sums of cash and not have to deal with any of the cash advance fees or anything like that. So on the bottom here, businesscreditbuilders.org/bank-lines-of-credit. That'll give you more details on this particular line of credit. What we do for you through this particular funding program is, as a real estate investor, we'll get you $25,000 to $300,000 in combined credit limits. 3 to 6 banks is what we're going to place with you. Now, typically banks are issuing anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 lines, because remember, they do go up to 50, but when we're presenting you to these banks, you have no relationship with them. They don't know you from Adam, okay? So we're presenting you to the banks with using your, obviously, you have to have good personal credit, which we'll get into in a minute, and you have to have verifiable income. Those are the 2 main factors that the banks are looking at. Credit, income. Credit, income. You have to verify that income. Interest rates, 7 to 15%. Flexible monthly payments, which I talked about, and this is unsecured money, completely unsecured. So as a real estate investor, just imagine if you have, you know, 50,000, 60, or up to 100,000 in unsecured lines of credit available to you at will, whenever you need it, and it's revolving. Just imagine how many more deals you can do with that amount of credit and capital available. You have to have 680 minimum credit scores with this program. Personal monthly gross income. You have to make at least $3,000 or more in income. That's gross. But the key is verifiable income. So if you're a 1099, then you're going to have to produce tax returns, okay, that show that you make that income. If you're a W-2, you have pay stubs, that's much easier way to qualify if you have that type of income. Or if you have retirement income, you have a disability or pension, that's fine too, because you can verify that. Now, let's suppose you have rental income. Let's say you make some part-time income as a W-2 employee, but you also make a couple $1,000s a month in rental income. We'll accept the rental income too. How you have to produce that to verify it is bank statements. Your bank statements have to show the rental income. Okay, so and you don't want to have excessive inquiries as well. All right, so this is a real great strategy for you to get personal lines of credit. You can go same process as the business credit card funding. The only difference you're going to do is on the form where you go to pre-qualification form, is you just click bank lines of credit if that's the option that you want particularly. Now, if you want to stack these funding programs, let's say I want business credit cards, I want personal lines of credit, I want as much as I can get, then just select maximum funding, and we'll explore all funding that's available to you and go after that in the 14 to 20 days. Okay, so let's talk about number 4. This is called a purchase line of credit. This is really cool and ideal for you if, let's say, you have 600, 630 credit scores. You don't qualify for business credit card funding because your scores are too low, but you want to do some rehabs and you need to pay contractors, you need to pay suppliers, you need to buy materials. This is called a purchase line of credit. You can't use it for cash, but you can use it. This is real short-term financing because this is 30 to 180-day terms. Okay, but this allows you to pay contractors, suppliers, and service providers with this line of credit. You can't pay yourself. You can't take money for this for yourself. This is to pay contractors or vendors, etc., for real estate investing. They also have a digital MasterCard, so that allows if a particular vendor wants to process it via credit card, they give you a temporary one-time use credit card, which is really cool. So you go to behalf.com, BEHALF.com. You get $350,000. You can use this line to pay, like I said, rehab materials, pay for services, contractors. There's a cost, obviously, and they break it down in detail on the site. But here's just an example. If you borrow $10,000, your fee will be about $100 to $300 a month, $600 total over a 60-day term. You can pay back monthly. This only reports to the business credit agency, so it doesn't report to your personal credit. You do have to have an entity set up to build up your credit file, but that's another advantage to the purchase line of credit. You have to be US-based business. They do accept startups. You don't have to have any revenues, no doc, business check account you do have to have, but they do check your personal credit, so you're going to get an inquiry on this particular program. Sign up online right here. Now, what I would suggest is if you plan to go with like our business credit card funding, or you want to pre-qualify for our funding programs, don't do this yet because this will trigger an inquiry. Okay, so I would go apply for the purchase line of credit after, if you go through our funding program afterwards, not before, because if we're doing a review for you and we're going to present you to the banks, you don't want to have recent inquiries showing up in your credit. So I would do this after we get you funding. Okay, but here's the link here to apply for this particular purchase line of credit. And keep in mind, all these options here, obviously there's a lot more ways to get cash and credit. I'm sharing with you 5 creative ways for you to get unsecured money and that you could use for real estate investing. And you can use all 5 of these if you want, depending on where the type of money, because remember, depending on how the money is going to be applied is key. This just gives you options and choices, which is important as a real estate investor. When you're looking for funding, you want to have options. You want to get creative. So the more funding you have available, the more creative you can be. So the 5th one is personal loans. And I don't like to say this is the last option or last resort. Some people need lump sums, a large amount of cash. Okay, so we could combine loans as well as lines of credit and cards. But if you just want a personal loan, we could get $15,000 to $300,000 combined loans. You're looking at 1 to 3 installment loans, 8 to 15% credit range. This gives you a longer repayment period, 2 to 7 years, no collateral. Kind of similar to a bank line of credit because you have to verify income with a loan, and the same thing is FICO scores have to be 670 or higher. The key thing though with this is, again, credit and income, with this particular type of program, you're going to get a lump sum cash injection into your personal account, checking account. And what's important to realize though with a personal loan is once you have a fixed payment, but once you use that cash up, obviously you got to get another loan. But remember that this also accomplishes something else for you. When you get an installment loan with the bank, let's say you have 1 or 2 installment loans that we set up for you. That's 1 to 2 more banking relations that you have with those banks. So when you approach those banks for another loan, guess what? Your process is going to be instant. You don't have to come to us at that point. You've already established that relationship with that bank. So we want to set you up with these banks, and then as far as the relationship part, that's up to you. That's up to you paying on time, using your credit, or paying your loan payments on time, etc. Then you can approach them for additional funding, credit increases, etc. Okay, so you can scale your access to funding is my point. So same process if you want to pre-qualify for some personal loans. Now keep in mind the pre-qualification process is a unique way for you as a real estate investor to know firsthand how much unsecured money you can raise right now to start investing in real estate. Okay, so we save you from going out and applying and getting declined, not knowing if you're going to get approved. Are you getting the best rate? Are you getting the best terms? Are you getting the highest credit limit you can get? Are you applying at the right bank that's going to allow you to further leverage yourself to get more funding? Are you protecting your personal credit? These are all things that are important when you go through pre-qual, because we're setting you up for that. We want to leverage your credit to get you the maximum amount of funding possible so you can invest in real estate, get a great return on your money, and continue to invest in real estate over and over and over again. And that's the beauty of getting revolving credit too. So with that, if you really like this information on real estate funding for investors, please give us a thumbs up. Be sure to check out also our lending programs for real estate credit. We do a lot of distressed property funding. We're a direct lender. We also bundle private investor money as well. But I think you'll really enjoy our unsecured programs. Be sure to click subscribe, because that way you can get abreast of all new funding programs that we're unveiling, new strategies to raise funding as an investor, small business owner, or even if you're starting. With that, I'd like to thank you for listening to this video. Make it a great day. We'll talk to you real soon.